Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Beanie Project. My name's Jordan Mackey, and this is my space for sharing spiritual advice or perspectives, any form of good thinking or just positive ways of looking at the world, any little bits of advice and tricks I've picked up along my journey through life. So, as I'm sure plenty of you are aware, the country's gone back into another lockdown. Now with this, a lot of people, myself included, seem to be struggling with time. How long we're spending being stuck indoors, not being able to do anything, when the situation will improve or change, and largely viewing it all as a bit of a problem, to be honest. It's very difficult to escape from on the day-to-day, very difficult to move past, and it's not to ignore it and not to lose focus of it in a naive sort of sense, but more to exist outside of it, to be able to have a fulfilling life where you're enjoying yourself properly outside of lockdown and outside of how that may be making you feel. So, one of the things that I wanted to talk about that's really helping me get through all of this is simply presence. Being present and using that to kind of change your perspectives on problems. So, one of the issues with lockdown obviously is time dragging and it all taking so long to pass. What I've realised through struggling with that myself is that actually time dragging is only a perspective given to you when you're trying to live in the future. You're looking forward to that next, when the situation changes, you're dying to get to whenever lockdown's over or whatever point you may be trying to aspire towards. But the harder you focus on that and the harder you try and wish yourself there, the more you cement yourself in the present, and the more you, which isn't to say that that makes you present, just it's the more you will be stuck here, the more time will begin to drag. Because so time dragging or time moving really slowly will directly reflect how badly you want to get to the next moment and how badly you want it to change and it to move on. And the more you want it, the slower time will go, and that, I promise you, that will work almost perfectly against each other. So with all of us looking to the future, and with the problems that lockdown has caused by kind of putting us in this sort of limbo where you can't really move past it, something I wanted to talk about was how actually past and the future are more concepts. They're not actually as real as we seem to think they are, and within that, how the past and the future, being concepts, create problems inside our heads where actually there shouldn't be any, and it can be easy to then move past that. So if you think of our brains as time machines, able to move while we, our bodies, our physical beings, are here in the present moment, our minds are able to move backwards through the past or to move forwards into the future and what we think will likely happen. So in this way, our minds are kind of time machines. And because of this, it can be easy to either it can be easy for your mind to go back into the past and to bring back up emotional issues you might have had then, problems, things that have gone wrong in the past, or to do the opposite and go forward into the future and worry about either what's going to happen, or to kind of focus on the point in which keep using lockdown as an example, to focus on the end of lockdown and kind of keep throwing your brain forward to that moment, going, it'll be better then because of this, it'll be better then because I can do this. But all that actually does is it drags those problems from either the past or the future into your present, and it consumes it. So really, something I'd like you to think about whenever you find yourself getting either caught up in the past or the future, or worries or problems that you might have, is to sit down and ask yourself, actually, what is wrong right now? Now, this isn't to say that your problems don't matter. This isn't to say that it's worth ignoring everything and just being happy out of ignorance, because that's not what I'm trying to get across. However, the best way to look at it might sound overly simple, but bear with me. The best way to generally look at it is, at least that I've found, is look at the problem and think, can I do something about this? Can I change it? If the answer to that is no, then rather than focusing on the problem and bringing that into your present moment and the emotions that go with it, what you really need to be focusing on is accepting what is. Accepting the reality of the moment, and accepting that as much as you might not like it and you wish it was something different, there's nothing you can do, and this is what it is. And so try letting go of the emotional connection to what you wish was, and focus on simply being at peace with what is. Now, secondly to that, if you can change it, but not right now, for example, again, lockdown, something that, you know, it will end, it will change in the future, but it's not something that we can actuate right now. In these sort of situations, you need to leave the problem in its place. So if lockdown's not going to end in 2 weeks, then right now there's nothing you can do about that. It will end in 2 weeks, but you have to wait for the moment to become present and not still be in the future. And as long as it is in the future, there's not much point again in you worrying about it or really letting it consume you, because you will be able to change it. Things will change, but you have to wait for the time to pass. So, as I think there's an old saying that goes, if you can do something about it, change it. If you can't, don't worry about it, because there's nothing you can do about it. So just focusing on, because all that does, all focusing on the problems, whether they're past or present, actually does, is remove the freedom of the present. It removes your ability to look around and be grateful and be appreciative of the things that you have that are around you. I mean, yeah, alright, we all want to go out and see our friends and stuff, but you're still in your house. You know, I don't want to generalise, because I realise everybody's situations are kind of different, but speaking broadly, there are still aspects of your life outside of the problems that will be okay. Like right now, while you're watching this video, simply sit and actually think, as much as whatever's on your mind, whatever's been running through it today, that's been dragging you down or you've been worrying about, apply it to now, this moment now, and how does it affect you? How does it actually change the situation you're in right now? It's a good question to ask yourself. Another interesting piece of advice is changing your perspective of a problem. So problems are illusions created by the perspective of time, both the future and the past. What you actually have, rather than a problem, are specific life situations that either positively or negatively affect you. Now, these life situations are not, or at least should not be, all-consuming. Now, again, with perspective, obviously some things are more serious than others. Some things, I'm not saying just shove your head in the sand and ignore all your issues. It's more about focusing on putting them into their place and letting them have their moment, so you can have your time and you can feel present and happy and light and not constantly weighed down by all these negative energies and negative thoughts. So yeah, rather than looking at problems as these big things going through our lives every day that we have to deal with, see problems more as illusions of time, simply life situations, either in the past or in the future or in the present, that you either can or can't do anything about. And as I've said, if you can't, really you need to be working on accepting what is and the reality of the moment. And if you can, then know that you can change it, and know that when the moment comes you will change it, but still try to put that boundary up with the problem and to say, I will deal with you then, but now this is my time and I don't need to think about you. The present is really the only place that has solutions. You can't fix something 2 weeks in the future, and if it's in the past then it's possibly already too late. So really the present is the only place that actually has any solutions for the issues that you're experiencing. And so with that knowledge, really, do you want to be living in the future if that is, owing to its own nature, a place that you can't change? The same with the past. Do you really want to be, do you want to have your mind constantly focused in the past if that's a place that, owing to its own nature, you can't do anything about it? However, living in the present and being present with what's happening in this moment, really, that's the only place you're ever going to find solutions. That's the only time you're ever going to be able to do anything about it. That's the only time you're ever going to be able to change things. So, you know, even if you can fix a problem, like even if you can fix a problem tomorrow, the solution will not come to you until tomorrow, because then tomorrow becomes the present and you can change the life situation. But until it is in the present moment, there's not a lot you can do about it.